Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello and welcome back to our English class, my dear students of class 7. We have been doing a lot of topics in grammar and also composition, and of late we have been focusing on the topic of compositions. There are different ways and topics that we can write in composition, which will also come under the English language. And today we will be learning how to write an email, and we will also get to know an idea of what an email is. And before that, I want you to get your books for your reference. You can turn it to page number 93 and 94. You will find some samples as well as on the format on how to write an email. What is an email? In the first place, email is the short form of electronic mail. It is cost effective. That means it does not cost you much money. And then it is eco-friendly. Why? Because in this present situation, in this present generation, we know that we have to take care of the environment, and it is our duty. We cannot just keep blaming on a particular department, or we cannot just keep blaming the government for our environment which is polluted, because we are all in one way or the other contributing to the pollution of the environment. And when we talk about environment, we all know how papers are produced, and when we send an email, you do not have to waste your papers. That is why email is considered to be eco-friendly, and then it is also the fastest. Okay, email is a letter. You can consider it a letter that you write on an electronic mail, maybe from your mobile phones, on the computers, and so on. But that is how a message can be transferred. If you have your internet connection, you do not need to waste any extra amount of money in order to send an email. Unlike the other means of communication, some will be example letters. Letters is a very good way of writing, but it uses paper, and also we need to spend a little bit of money in order to post our letter. We need to buy the stamps, we need to buy the envelopes. But when it comes to an email, it is not so, but it is very eco-friendly and also considered the fastest, because in a flick of a second, you can just forward your mail to somebody who needs to see that. Okay, so that is just a short introduction of what an email is. There are different kinds of emails. If you do not know, we have the formal emails as well as the informal emails. We will not be doing everything in detail, but I just want you to understand what an email is and what are its kinds. I know many of you will be having your email IDs. Some of you may not be having it. Since you are still in class 7, you may not know the importance of having an email much. But if you want to send some attachments, maybe you want to send some big files, in that case, having an email ID helps you a lot. You do not have to keep copying everything, or you do not have to print out everything, but you can just attach that file, maybe a document or even a book for that matter. In order to send a book, it's heavy, even if you need to send it to some persons. But if you have the soft copy, that means if you have the copy on your gadget, on your phone, on your computers, or anywhere, you can just attach that and send it to that person who needs to receive it. It also becomes easier for that person because he can receive it quickly. It does not need to occupy any space in his rooms, and that is the reason why email has become very convenient for everyone in this present generation, especially when our time is getting busier and busier. As a student, I know that you also don't have much time sometimes. You need to finish your home assignments, you need to finish your projects, you need to study your particular lessons that will be coming up for your examinations, and there are a lot of co-curricular activities that you need to involve, and that is the reason why you may not have time to go to a particular place, maybe to another town in order to get that book. But when you have an email, it becomes easier. Okay, under the formal emails, what will you have? We have the business mails. You have the mails to personally known to us. Okay, under the formal emails, you can also have mails to people you know personally. Maybe you have some official work with them, and so you can send your mails there. not just inquiring how he is doing or how his family, how his schooling is going on and so on, but there are times that you need to do your official works even with a person who knows you personally or whom you know personally. Okay, and the next one is mails of complaints, inquiries, placing orders, requests, etc. It can also be, okay, I'm going to explain these things a little bit again. When it comes to mails of complaints, inquiries, maybe you are working with a company and you are not satisfied with certain things or certain workings and rules in the company, you can always mail your complaints to the office email ID, so that the person concerned or the person who needs to read your letter or your mail will open that and check it without you having to go to him personally. That is also a wastage of time. And so that is what you write in your complaints, or it can even be an inquiry. Maybe you want to seek admission in a particular school and you do not know exactly how it functions, or you want to know if there are more seats available. In that case, you can also place an inquiry email. And also placing an order. You can also place orders. If you want to order bulks of books from a stationery or from a particular publisher, you can always mail your request there, or you can place your orders there, so that the company, the person who is in charge of that will see to it and also respond to you accordingly. If you need to go there personally and fetch your orders, they will also inform you about that. Or if they can just parcel it and send it to you, they will also let you know about the price or the details of everything that you want to know from the order that you are placing. In order to place an order, you need to have some more ideas about it, and there you can also write an inquiry mail on how the publishers work or on how the textbooks are prepared. It may be convenient to you or may not be convenient to you. So in the first place, you have to send an inquiry mail and then inquire about it. And we have business mails. The mails that are concerning your business. If you're starting a business or if you are partnering with a particular company or a business firm, okay, you can always exchange your mails through this. These are things which may not be very applicable to you right now at your stage, but if you learn how to write an email, it is also going to help you in the future days, okay? Because you are going to use it anyway, whether you like it or not. This is becoming a necessity in our lives. And when it comes to the informal email, you will have mails, you will be mailing to your family members, to your friends and relatives. You may also be inquiring how they are doing in their daily lives. You can, in this kind of informal emails, you can write anything that is personal to you. Okay, you can even write an email and forward it to them, asking them on how the family members are doing. But remember, your emails have to be short. When I say emails, it is just a shortened form of a letter. But in a letter, you have to follow certain rules, writing the date, your address, and so on. Things will be a little bit different in your email, which I'm going to show you the format. I will be showing you the format and also how to write an email. But we have to know what an informal and what a formal email is. In a formal email, your language has to be simple but formal. It has to be polite. But when it comes to your family members, I don't mean to say that you can be rude when you're mailing to your family members, but you can write a casual letter. It will be easier for you to understand if I say a letter. So you can imagine that you are writing a short letter to your family members, to your friends, to your siblings, or even to your relatives. And in that you can put on the message. You don't have to write a long email. Okay, you can also do that, but writing this informal email, it can just be short and brief so that the person reading your email will get to know the idea of why you are writing. You may be wanting to visit a particular place, and in this, you can also invite them to join you in that on that specific day that you will be going. And you can also involve all your other family members if you want to do that. By writing one email, it's easier because you can forward it to so many people just with that same mail. Okay? And this is how the structure of an email goes. I want you to have a look at this. an email has two parts, that is the header and the body. Okay, I repeat, the header and the body. On the header, you will see that there will be the date. Okay, the sender's mail address will be there, that is your email ID. The person who is there, it will be there by default. Okay, it will be there even if you do not write. And then the subject. The subject can be just a very short one. Okay, you don't have to write a subject like request for. For the formal mails, you can add some things like that. But when it comes to the informal mail, you can just write plan for a picnic. Example, you are planning for a picnic with your friends or with your family. You can just give the subject as picnic plan. That will be catchy, okay? Because when they see the subject of your mail, they will also get to understand the reason why you are writing your mail, and in the body you will see the message or the content, the reason why you are writing the email. In an informal email, you do not have to follow certain rules. You just write your message straight away. You can just put down the message that you want to convey, okay? And then the complimentary clause, that is your name. Okay, the complimentary clause should be there. In any kind of letter, we know that at the end you will always have to give your name. Yes, that's it. You will always have to give your name at the end. So that is called the complimentary clause. We have also done that in letter writing. So it is almost the same with a letter. The only thing is you are writing your mail on a gadget. Okay, you are writing your mail on a gadget. You are writing it on your phone. You are writing on your computer. So that is the difference. And also it is cost effective. That means it does not cost you much, and that is the difference. We can also call the email as the modern day letter. I repeat, you can also call the email as the modern day letter in some other ways. And then that is the reason why, but there are certain things that will be there by default. That means you don't have to add so many things. It will just come out on its own for an email. That also makes it easier for you to send it. And there are certain points to be kept in mind. Let's read this together. Important points to be kept in mind. Subject should be brief but direct. I repeat, subject should be brief but direct. Do not use abbreviations. You know what is abbreviation, right? Abbreviation just means short forms. You are advised not to use abbreviations. Divide the content into short paragraphs. You can divide the content, especially with a formal email writing. You have to divide it. It can be the introduction, the body, and the conclusion, and so on. But even in the others, you can always divide your emails, okay, into paragraphs, because there will be certain topics. Example, you are planning for a picnic. Since I have given you the example of picnic, I'm using the word picnic again and again. I hope you don't mind with that. And when you are writing for a picnic, you can say the things that will be required, the persons required, and also the place. Those are three different topics that you are going to discuss about. And in that case, you can always bring things. You can always bring those particular topics in that same paragraph. That likewise, if you do so, it becomes easier for your readers to get what you want to tell them. Okay? Subject should be brief but direct. That is what we have already discussed. Do not use abbreviations. Divide the content into short paragraphs. The mail addresses, senders and receivers should not contain capital letters. So, whenever you want to create an email ID for yourself, remember it should not be capital letter. Everything has to be in the small letter. We have been, when we were young, we have been taught how to use the capital and the small letter. They have different usages, but sometimes even a class 6-7 students gets confused on where to use a capital and where to use a small letter. We know that every sentence starts with a capital letter. So likewise, even on email, there are certain rules to follow. You should never use a small letter on your email ID or your receiver's email ID. Like in our normal way of writing in a copy, you should never start your sentence with a small letter. So the same thing with this, you cannot use a capital letter in your email ID or your receiver's email ID. That means the persons who would be receiving your mail. Okay, I want you to look at this and read along with me once more, because these are certain things to be kept in your mind. I'm not telling you to memorize it, but you should understand of what you should do and what you should not. The first one would be, subject should be brief but direct. Do not use abbreviations. Divide content into short paragraphs. The mail addresses, that is, the sender's and receiver's address, should not contain capital letters. I hope you are done with that. Let's get on to the next point. This is the format to write a mail. The format, the first thing it will be the date, okay? The date, you don't have to bother about that. It will be there automatically. It will just come out when you get into the mailbox. The date will appear by default. Default means it is already there. You do not have to write again. And then you will find something called from, okay? That is your address. That is your email address, sender's mail address. It will be there. And then 2, receiver's mail address. You have to enter the receiver's address, because unless you enter the right address, it will not reach the particular person. And here you will find something called CC on your mail. That means blind carbon copy, okay? Blind carbon copy. It includes email addresses of the other recipients about whom we don't want the receiver to know. Especially for formal mails, these things you have to use it, because you may be sending to so many persons, okay? And then salutation. Salutation, that is something that we have always been discussing, especially in the composition part. We have done the letter, we have done so many other kinds of letters. In this case, salutation is something very important. If you are addressing to a mail, you have to use the word sir, which I don't have to be mentioning every time, or madam. Or if you are writing an informal email, okay? If you are writing an informal mail, you can use dear and then add the name of your friend or the name of the person to whom you are sending your mail. And the body contains the whole message of your mail. Of course, that is something that we did even in the letter writing. When it comes to the body, I want you to know that you have to put everything there that you want to convey. Okay? The content and the body is almost the same. And then the sign off. Sign off is your complimentary clause. Okay? You write your name, and then you can send the mail now. Now, after writing all these things, your mail is ready to be sent to the person. As long as the email ID is correct, it will always reach them within a flick of a second. And that is why email is considered to be the fastest and the easiest means of communication. This is a sample of an email. Even if I keep explaining, it will be difficult for you to understand it. That's why I just gave this sample. From, that is your mail ID will be there. To, you have to type the person, the address of the person who is receiving. Here we see Nagaland Tourism 2014@gmail.com, and then you don't see any capital letter. And then you see the topic here, and then here is a file that is attached in this email. So this is how an email works, okay? And then the next topic that we are going to discuss. I want to do 2 topics today, because writing a message and email is quite similar in some ways. The only thing is message will be it can be written in a paper also. So that is the difference. That is why I want you to compare these 2 topics. And so I brought this message writing also. And if you are thinking why this is there, it is also included in your syllabus, and that is the reason why I've picked, as well as it is a very essential part of writing in our daily activities. You may want to pass on a message to someone, maybe by phone, maybe over phone, or maybe on a piece of paper, but leaving a message to someone when you cannot call that person or when you cannot meet that person, message plays a very important work, okay? It has a big role in our daily lives, because you can just give that, and then the person who reads it will get to know your message again. A message is just a short piece of writing. The purpose is to inform, caution, request, or convey. Okay, information or message in a compact manner. In a letter writing, you have to write a long page sometimes, but when it comes to message writing, you can just leave that short message, and the person who needs to read it will comprehend it. That means comprehend means understand. The person who needs to receive the message will understand it just by one reading. You don't have to use long paragraphs in order to convey that message. And the format will be the date, time, and name of the person will be there. Why? Because if you don't mention the date, they may think that it's just a piece of paper that is not needed anymore. So write the date and time so that the person who sees that message will get to know that it is important for today and it concerns today. That means it is talking about today. Name of the sender will be there, the person who is sending. Message in short and clear. I repeat, message in short and clear. You don't have to write long one, as I've said. You can just give your very short message. It can begin like, the body of your message can begin like, Mr. Rao told that he will, and it can be any message. Mr. Rao told that he will not be home this evening, so you are told to come by tomorrow. If Mr. Rao had told somebody to come and see him, but suddenly he had to make changes in his routine and he had to go out. Remember, it is always important for you. You are the person who is conveying the message. Since Mr. Rao will not be home, you can write the message in short, give your name, give that receiver's name. That is what you need to do in a message. Okay? That is all about emails and messages. The purpose is almost the same, but when it comes to messages, it is simpler, and then you can always put it very short so that the person who needs to know, and messages are for quick responses or for quick reading. That is what you have to keep in your mind. Whereas an email can be something that is sent because you need to convey the message, but not necessarily now. And with that, we are going to end this topic for today. Thank you all so much for listening.